10 Westerns of 1959. A great year with around 37 Westerns, with names like John Wayne, Randolph Scott and Richard Widmark. Clearly I won't get to all the Westerns made this year in this video. Let me know in the comments what your favourite was. If you enjoy this video, hit the notification button to get my new videos. If you want to check out my many other videos, head over to my channel. The link is in the description. Like, share and subscribe. You know the drill. Appreciate it, really. Let's get into it. The Horse Soldiers, directed by John Ford, a Western adventure film set during the American Civil War, starring John Wayne, William Holden and Constance Towers. A fictionalized version of the famous Grierson's raid by Federal cavalry in April-May 1863, riding southward through Mississippi and around the Mississippi River fortress of Vicksburg during the Vicksburg Campaign, to split the Southern Confederacy by Union Army General Ulysses S. Grant.
And the two hellions who rode side by side to lead it.
Warlock, directed by Edward Dmytryk, a Western produced and starring Richard Widmark, Henry Fonda, Anthony Quinn, and Dorothy Malone. Fonda plays Clay Blaisdell, a freelance marshal in the fictionalized town of Warlock, with unique methods of dealing with troublemakers, while Widmark portrays Johnny Gannon, a former outlaw who eventually becomes the town's deputy sheriff. A subplot centers on Blaisdell's club-footed assistant, Tom Morgan, played by Quinn, who has sublimated his relationship and ambitions into a warped devotion to Blaisdell, the only person Morgan thinks does not look down on him for his disability. As in the earlier film Wichita, 1955, the conflict of the law with the outlaw runs parallel to the resentment of the town's own leadership.
Oh, I could have killed you if they hadn't done that.
We only wanted to talk. Mr. Richardson, Mr. Peach, we only wanted to talk.
Friendly.
The Hanging Tree, directed by Delmer Daves, a Western based on the novelette The Hanging Tree, written by Dorothy M. Johnson in 1957, stars Gary Cooper, Maria Schell, Carl Malden, and George C. Scott. Set in the goldfields of Montana during the gold rush of the 1860s and 70s. The story follows a doctor who saves a criminal from a lynch mob, then earns the enmity of several prospectors while trying to protect a young woman who he has nursed back to health after she was injured in a coach robbery. Carl Malden assumes directing duties for several days when Daves fell ill, and the film represented the first cinematic appearance for George C. Scott.
And my own true love, she...
Last Train from Gun Hill, directed by John Sturges, a Western film in VistaVision and Technicolor, stars Kirk Douglas, Anthony Quinn, and Earl Holliman. Douglas and Holliman had previously appeared together in Sturges's Gunfight at the OK Corral, 1957, which used much of the same crew.
Craig. Matt? What was your boy's name, Matt?
Petey.
Petey. That's right, Petey. Raise him good, Matt.
They Came to Cordura, directed by Robert Rosen, a western co-written and starring Gary Cooper, Rita Hayworth, Van Heflin, and Tab Hunter, based on the 1958 novel by Glendon Swarthout. In 1916, as US soldiers chased after Pancho Villa, Army Major Thomas Thorne was assigned to be a battlefield observer and reward heroism. He had been suggested for this duty by Colonel Rogers, who is 63 years old and impatiently yearning to be promoted to general before mandatory retirement a few months hence.
1, I don't want no medal. I don't hanker to be made a lead mule. 2, I ain't had a woman since we crossed the border. Now you turn her over to me, and after I get through, she won't be so damn.
The wrong way home. He won't shoot. He's a yellow guts. A yellow guts.
You're the bravest man I've ever known.
They Came to Cordura tells of the good in the worst of women, the bad in the best of men. It tells of one man who sought courage and found it where he least expected it, in himself.
Rio Bravo, directed and produced by Howard Hawks, a western starring John Wayne, Dean Martin, Ricky Nelson, Angie Dickinson, Walter Brennan, and Ward Bond. Stars Wayne as a Texan sheriff who arrests the brother of a powerful local rancher and then has to hold the man in jail until a US Marshal can arrive. With the help of a lame old man, a drunk, and a young gunfighter, together they hold off the rancher's gang. In 2014 was deemed culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant by the Library of Congress and selected for preservation in the National Film Registry.
I can fix you a nice hot bath.
All I want is a drink.
Then, this is all I can do for you?
I told him you were one of the best.
I'll tell you what I'm a lot better at, Mr. Wheeler. That's minding my own business. No offense, Sheriff.
Where are you going?
Get your hands off.
I said, where are you going?
You got no use for a man you can't depend on. One bad night and I'm done for.
Better go easy on that stuff. That makes 3 you had.
Yep. You'd be lying, because that's what I am, a soft-headed idiot. There isn't any other explanation for staying around here and inviting myself into this.
She'll be waiting for my rifle, pony, and me.
Alias Jesse James, directed by Norman Z. MacLeod, a western comedy film starring Bob Hope and Rhonda Fleming. Milford Farnsworth is a bumbling insurance agent who unknowingly sells a life insurance policy to the outlaw Jesse James. Farnsworth is sent out west to shield the insurance company's investment by protecting James. James has his own plan, to have Farnsworth killed while the insurance man is dressed as the outlaw so that Jesse and his soon-to-be widow, Cora Lee Collins, can collect the $100,000 insurance policy. Farnsworth avoids several attempts on his life while he and Collins fall in love.
Well, that's the fastest draw Jesse ever made. That's Milford.
Milford? Tell him I want to see him.
Falls for Jesse's ball of fire.
Sure like to say goodbye again.
Don't miss the fun and fireworks when Jesse gets wise to his gal and his guns. And wait till you see the bang-up surprise ending. It's as big as all outdoors, as full of laughs as the wide-open faces.
No Name on the Bullet, directed by Jack Arnold, a western starring Audie Murphy, Charles Drake, and Joan Evans. It is one of a handful of pictures in that genre directed by Arnold, better known for his science fiction movies of the era. Although it is one of Universal Pictures' modestly budgeted vehicles for World War II hero Audie Murphy, the top-billed actor is unusually, but very effectively, cast as the villain, a cold-blooded gun for hire.
Why do I have to go?
You want to stay alive, don't you?
No Name on the Bullet.
Can't. I've come to ask you to leave.
And if I don't?
Ride Lonesome, directed by Bud Boticher, a western starring Randolph Scott, Karen Steele, Pernell Roberts, Lee Van Cleef, and James Coburn in his film debut. One of Bowditch's so-called renowned cycle of westerns, made with Randolph Scott, executive producer Harry Joe Brown, and screenwriter Burt Kennedy, beginning with 7 Men from Now.
I'll be riding your guns.
Well, what am I supposed to do?
Walk.
I don't think so. You let me go. You don't, I swear I'll cut you in two.
Suppose there's any way of getting Billy from you.
Thanks for your time today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I appreciate likes, shares, and subscribers. Check out my channel and Facebook page. Links are in the description. Drop me your comments. I am Wrangler. Bye for now. See you again soon.
Interesting facts about famous people.